Welcome to the demonstration for migrating PST files preparation. This demonstration reinforces the concepts covered in Lesson 13 of the Enterprise Vault 10 for Exchange Administration course. In this demonstration and the three following demonstrations, we will configure and test PST file migrations using three different migration methods. We start with the preparation, then with a client-driven migration, which is usually the most convenient method where the PST files are held locally on the client machines. Next, we will use the locate and migrate method, which is best method to use when we find the PST files are spread across many servers and clients. And finally, we will use a wizard-based PST migration for importing a PST file created using the PST export wizard. In this demonstration, we will complete the required preparation tasks before the PST migration can begin. We start off on our Enterprise Vault server, which is server number 2, and what we're going to do is we're going to go and look at the desktop policy to verify that it has been configured to support marking PST files for migration. So we'll go ahead and start off with expanding our policies. Then we can expand our exchange, and we will select our desktop policy here. And the policy we're going to be looking at is going to be the priority desktop policy. So if I open up the properties of the priority desktop policy, clicking properties here, and to determine whether or not the PST marking has been configured, we need to go to the Advanced tab. From our Advanced tab, we want to make sure that we have Outlook selected for our list settings from, and then we need to scroll down to see the setting that we're looking for. And the setting that we're looking for is the Mark PST Files. By default, this setting has been set to on. So we go ahead and we can cancel out of this. And the next thing that we want to do is to switch over to the client machine and open up Outlook and have it start to mark the PST files associated with a particular client. So here we have H. Burton is the logged in user. So to start up Outlook, I'll come over and click my Start button. Then I can select the Microsoft Outlook 2010. And now that I've got the Outlook open, you can see that H. Burton has a PST file associated with his Exchange profile, so the marking process will be occurring. Now we're going to go ahead and leave this open for a while, and we'll come back to it later. But for right now, we want to go back to our Enterprise Vault server, server 2. So we'll go ahead and pop back over to that server. And what we want to look at here is we want to go through and look at the policies associated with the PST migration. So I'll come up under my site and expand. I've already got my policies expanded. My exchange is already expanded. So all I have to do is select my PST migration. And you can see that there is a default PST migration policy created, just like with the mailbox and desktop and journaling policies, which we created in earlier demonstrations. There is a default Exchange PST migration policy, but also as in the earlier demonstrations, you do have the option of creating custom ones. For our purposes, we'll just edit the default Exchange policy. So we'll open up the properties here, click on it, select properties. Now the first thing that we want to set up in the properties is the shortcut creation for the PST migration. So we'll click on our shortcut creation option. And we have decided in our planning that we would like to go ahead and have it create a shortcut in the associated mailbox for the PST migration. And we're going to change it, instead of it being in the root folder, we're going to create a folder for it to be stored in. In this folder, under the root folder, we're going to call this PST Archives. Now, once we've got that set up, the next thing that we want to look at and configure is going to be the post-migration actions. So we'll come up here and click on post-migration. And we've decided that we want to just delete the PST files. So we'll mark the checkbox here in front of the delete the PST files options. And then we can go ahead and click our OK button. The next thing that we need to do is create a temporary folder. Not actually create a temporary folder, but have a folder that will act as a temporary holding folder for us as we're migrating the PST files. So we'll go ahead and we'll open up our Windows Explorer environment. Once we've got our Windows Explorer open, we want to place this on our D drive. So we'll select our D drive here. And we'll just create a new folder. So I can right click and then select New and Folder. And then we're just going to go ahead and name it PST Holding. So it'll hold the files as part of the PST migration, and in our later demonstrations, as we go through the different types of the PST migration, we'll try to see if we can see the files as they're stored in this particular folder. Once we've got the file created and named as PST Holding, we want to go ahead and open up the properties and set up the required security. So I can right-click on it, select Properties from the pop-up menu. Oh, I'm sorry, we're not going to go to the security first. We're going to do the sharing first. So I'll click the Share With, and then we'll go to Specific People. And you can see that I've already got the Nita Kapoor, which is our Power Administrator that we've been using in the different demonstrations. And what we need is our Enterprise Vault Service account to have read-write. So if I select my Enterprise Vault Service account, you can see that they've already been assigned read-write to that particular folder. So then I can just go ahead and click the Share button. And now it shows that it is, for the PST Holding folder is shared. So I go ahead and click Done. And now we'll go back and open up the properties and set up the permissions. So I can right-click on the PST Holding folder, select my Properties option. And then for the security, we'll go to the Security tab. And we just want to make sure that the local administrators, of which the EV service and Nita Kapoor are both members of, has full control access to this particular PST Holding folder, which you can see from the checkbox, they do have that permission already. So now I go ahead and click OK to close out my property page. And now we're ready to go and tell the Enterprise Vault environment that the PST Holding folder is the one that we want to use for that purpose. So we'll go ahead and minimize the Windows Explorer. And we'll come over here and select our site, which is EV Site 1 in our environment. And then we'll go ahead and open up the property page. Right-click on it. Select Properties here. And when the Properties page comes up, I'm on the General tab. And you can see that it asks me where is going to be the PST Holding folder. Again, we just happen to name ours PST Holding. You can name it anything that you wish. So we'll go ahead and click our Change button. And the first thing that asks us is what type of a share are we going to use for the PST Holding folder? Is it going to be a regular share or a hidden? And in our particular example, we made it as a regular share. So I just go ahead and click OK. And then it is on server 2, so we just need to expand server 2 here and select our PST Holding. And we can go ahead and click OK. And we're done setting that as property, so I can click OK to close the site's property page. We do get the warning that we need to restart tasks and services before this will take effect. So we're OK with that. We click OK. And now that dialog box goes away. The next thing that we want to do is to go ahead and create an additional temporary storage location that we're going to use. So we'll go back to our Windows Explorer, open that up. And this one's going to be on the local box for certain types of migration. So we'll select the C drive. Once again, we'll go ahead and create a new folder for this. And we'll select New and Folder. And we'll name this one PST Local. Now for this particular file, we don't have to have the sharing set up because it's only being used by the Enterprise Vault Services here on the local machine. So it doesn't need to be shared. So I'll go ahead and minimize my Windows Explorer window. And the next thing that I want to do is to create a PST migration task. So to create the PST migrator task, I expand my Enterprise Vault servers, expand the EV server, which is server 2, select my tasks. And currently we do not have any PST tasks. So we'll go ahead and we'll just right-click on Tasks, select New, and the first task that we need is the PST Migrator task. So this starts the new PST Migrator task wizard. We have our welcome page, basically. We go ahead and click Next. You can give it a different name, but again, PST Migrator task is fine. So we'll go ahead and click Next. And now it asks the folder that's required for the temporary copies of the PST that are being migrated. And this is the local ones here on server 2. So that's going to be the PST local. So I click my browse and I expand my C drive. And I select PST local. And then we can go ahead and click OK to accept that value. Then we click our next button. And we get our summary page. We verify all of our settings. We go ahead and click Finish. Now at this particular point in time, we're not going to start the PST migrator task. We want to change the schedule before we actually start it. So we'll leave that Start the New Task Now unmarked. Click Close. And then we're going to come up and change the schedule on the PST migrator task. So I'll select the PST migrator task and then right click on it to open up the pop-up menu and select Properties to open our Properties page. And we're going to change the schedule. So I'll click on the Schedule tab. And you can see that by default it's using the site schedule that we had set up in a earlier demonstration. So I'll remove the mark for that. And we'll have it run at selected times. Now normally, again, you would have the PST migration set up during off hours, maybe when users wouldn't be accessing the information in the PST. And again, the PST migration task does take up resources, so we don't want them to be happening when the resources are needed for other things in Enterprise Vault. But for our demonstration purposes, we want it to run continuously. So we'll go ahead and we'll just highlight that whole section there. And so now it'll be running 24/7 for us. So it'll be running all day and all night. We can go ahead and click OK. It does remind us that the tasks need to be restarted or started before they take effect. So we go ahead and click OK. And again, we don't need to restart it because it's never been running, but we do need to go ahead and start this task. So I'll go ahead and right click on it and select Start. And you can see that its status has changed from stopped to running. Now, one last thing that we want to do is have a message be sent to the users when they're selected as part of the PST migration process. So to do that, we're going to go and look at the mail messages in Enterprise Vault, move them to the correct location, and then edit them. So to do that, I'll come back down and open up my Windows Explorer again. And the files are in the same location as they were for the Enable Enterprise Vault. So I have to navigate down to my D drive, the installation folder for Enterprise Vault, which is under Program Files x86. And then we navigate into our Enterprise Vault folder. And then the messages will be under Languages. And these are mailbox messages that we're sending. And for our demonstration purposes, we'll select EN for English. And the two that we need to get for PST migrations are the Enable PST Migrator message. So we'll select that one. And then once the task is actually done, we'll have a PST Migrated message to let them know that the task is done. So we'll select that one as well. And then once we have the two messages selected, we need to copy them to the Enterprise Vault installation directory. So I'll go ahead and click the PST Migrated, right click on that, select my copy option. And then I'll come up here and navigate to the Enterprise Vault, the installation directory. And then I can just paste them here. So I'll right click, select Paste. And now it's installed them and placed them in the correct order alphabetically. So I'll scroll up to find it. And here's my first one, the PST Migrated message. So I'll go ahead and double click on that and open it up. It does ask for an Outlook profile, and we had created on server 2 for an earlier demonstration 2 profiles, one generic Outlook profile, and then one for the journal user. So it means we're not dealing with journaling. We can just go ahead and use the default Outlook profile. I'll go ahead and click OK. And you can see there's a message here that tells you what we're doing, that we're getting ready to, or correction, this is the one that's been completed. So it tells you that your PST file has been archived by Enterprise Vault. So we'll just add a word out here at the end of the initial line for demonstration so that we know this is the one that we've edited. Once we've edited, we can go ahead and save it. So I come up to my Office button, click on that, select Save. Then I can go ahead and close this message. And then I need to find the one for when we're getting ready to migrate the PST files. So I'll scroll back up again, select the Enable PST Migration message, double click on that. Once again, we'll just use the Outlook profile, that's fine. We'll click on OK. And again, we'll just add the demonstration out here at the end. So it's customized. And again, this is the one that they will get when you've enabled their PST file for migration. The previous one was the one that they would get after the PST migration was completed. So we need to save this, so we'll come up and click on our Office button, select our Save option, and then we go ahead and close the message. And that brings us to the end of this demonstration.